So the big plot twist of Matrix Resurrections that people somehow missed, actually, is Greetings, this is Eugene the Philosopher, the greatest living philosopher after the unfortunate passing of Quentin Robert de Nameland, who has been the greatest living philosopher before me. So in this video I want to talk about the latest Matrix Resurrections movie, right? Like the supposed sequel or a continuation of the original Matrix trilogy. And I have to say at the start that what I'm going to be talking about is actually not my idea, but rather I've stolen it from one Russian blogger, and hence that's why it was so good that I needed to communicate it to you. Of course, I'll add my own stuff as usual along the way, but yeah, the main idea is not mine. But yeah, it's so good I had to share it with you. Mostly because, again, it's communicated in Russian and this channel is English, so yes. Of course, the movie itself, Matrix Resurrections, is being heavily, voluminously, let's say, shit upon by all the, roughly speaking, like right-wing people, conservatives and whatnot, people like that, right? Because they think they do have a taste in art, etc., etc., but actually they don't. And of course, there's a meme that leftists cannot meme, and I actually support it to a large degree. But at this particular instance, like the right-wing hatred towards the latest Matrix instance is actually showing that right-wing people aren't that bright as well, hopefully, like, when you watch this video of mine, you will understand why. And so, like they just don't get the point. And I actually remember a quote from another Russian blogger, just FYI, I know this is, of course, a very important information, where he said that, well, in English language, the word conservative actually means like an idiot who doesn't understand what is going on. And it's kind of very, illustrative to what we're having here with this, particular movie, for example. So, yes, I believe, again, I completely agree with the point that this other blogger is making, which is most of what I'm going to communicate to you at the moment, is that there is a big, epic plot twist in the Matrix Resurrections, but it's kind of hidden. It's kind of like, it's not very hidden, but you have to have a brain to actually grasp it, alright? And there are, of course, like different types of plot twists. It's like not a big secret to anyone who was into narration, into like storytelling art, which is an art, really. But it is what is called an open twist. Like when, like you don't get the answers, like, delivered to you on a silver platter, so to speak, but rather there is a very captivating interpretation, like an alternative interpretation, which kind of makes a lot of sense, and it kind of allows you to, reformulate the idea of an art piece in a completely different way. And these are, the movies that bring up all the, fan theories and stuff. Like, again, I have videos, I'm gonna link them all in the description, on my own channel about like Star Wars, about Blade Runner, what else is there? Well, I have a video about Lovecraft, but there isn't any like fanfic theory about this. Okay, I'll think about something else and add it as well. But anyway, so one example of such an open twist would be No Country for Old Men, a movie by Coen brothers. Actually, one of my, if not like, well, I've probably said that my favorite movie is Blade Runner, like the original movie, but Coen brothers, their Burn After Reading is probably my second most favorite movie. It's like, yeah, like it's really, really good. I highly recommend it. I mean, it has such a super tightly packed star cast. I mean, there's like George Clooney, there's John Malkovich, there's Brad Pitt, and the movie itself is just so brilliant. It's so good. I mean, I just love it. Anyway, No Country for Old Men. So it has an open twist in the sense that we don't have the answer to the final question, which is like, what the hell, what the hell this situation is about, right? But basically, the idea is, which this Russian blogger came up with, and I completely agree, and I think it's actually super sound, is that the actual plot twist there is that Anton Chigurh, or maybe I should pronounce it in Russian manner, like Anton Chigurh, this like super killer, you know, this main villain essentially of the movie, he never existed even. So the movie is narrated from the point of view of this old sheriff, right? This what was his name? Ed Tom Bell, right? And the kind of the whole point of the movie, which is even in the title, is that old men cannot like comprehend, you know, what is going on in the modernity and, I mean, in modern times. And he even like explicitly states this, is that I don't understand like modern criminals. They're like a whole other breed. So what he is telling us is that he thinks there was this Anton Chigurh, like ruthlessly killing people, you know, in some super cleanly manner. But in reality, what it was, like the whole events of the movie, is that there was this main character, main protagonist, Llewellyn Moss, right? And he was Anton Chigurh. Like, you can actually notice this in many instances, that they never appear in the same shot. Even when they're like fighting, like, I mean, shooting at each other, like, there was never the same shot with both of them present, right? So it's basically the old sheriff trying to explain to himself, first and foremost, like what happened. And what actually happened, it seems, is that it was just greed, basically. It's this Llewellyn Moss following money, basically, and doing stupid shit along the way. And there was no Anton Chigurh at all involved. And there are many hints on that as well. So, yeah. And, yeah, again, the title itself kind of is fitting to this, right? It's this old man trying to rationalize that, well, you know, in my time, like, people had standards, etc., but he doesn't understand, right, the situation. Anyway, that was a digression. A pretty cool one, I would say. Actually, again, Coen Brothers, burn after reading. Watch this, you will you will be satisfied, I think. Maybe. Or if you're a right-wing conservative, maybe you won't. So let's talk about the big plot twist of the original Matrix first and foremost. Original Matrix trilogy, because it's kind of very relevant to the new instance of this. So what is Matrix fundamentally about? I think, is that it's, well, the word itself, right? Matrix. It's kind of like the framework, right? The substrate, the way of ordering things. It's like about making order from chaos, essentially. Actually, one of the running topics of this channel, like order from chaos versus chaos from order, right? So Matrix is literally the framework that shapes stuff, if you know what I mean. You actually probably don't, but anyway. So, and the story of Neo, is it pronounced as Neo? I don't know. The main character, the Keanu Reeves, actually, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. It's basically the story of liberation. You might say self-liberation, but in general, liberation, like, unshackling yourself, like unenslaving yourself, something like that, right? So it's the story about how he overcomes, transcends, you might say, the rules of the Matrix, right? And of course, there's like a million hints about this in the movie. Plural, right? Like the spoon doesn't exist, you know, like how Morpheus like convinces him he can fly, actually, right? Like he can bend the rules because he's kind of above them already, right? He kind of liberated himself already. And like, the very premise is that he seeks out actively Morpheus himself, right? Because he kind of feels, he has this feeling that the world is not okay and we have to do something about it, right? We have to rebel, we have to unslave ourselves, something like that. That's kind of the character of Neo. It's his fundamental, you know, like the salt of the character, like the main idea of the character is that I'm gonna liberate myself, something like that. And the problem, or rather like the big plot twist of the original Matrix trilogy, is that, drum roll, I'm not gonna add it actually because again I'll probably get some sort of a copyright strike for this, is that like Zion, this you know, like the real world is actually not real. All right, it's also a part of the Matrix. And like the idea is, well, you can see it again in many different hints, like that Neo at some point was able to actually connect to the Matrix without any real connection, you know, without any devices, etc. Secondly, he can also use his superpowers on the robots in Zion, whereas it's like, what the hell, you know? But it's actually, you know, it's the spoon, which is not real, because, yeah, like, if he can use these very same powers which he can use in the Matrix, it means the Zion is also the Matrix, right? So it is fake, yeah. That's kind of the biggest plot twist of the original Matrix trilogy. So the purpose of Zion, in the context of Matrix and the architect and whatever, is just to filter out all these rebellious people. So there is a separate program, Morpheus, which is like, its purpose is to find exactly these people like Neo who are like unsatisfied with the world. They think there's something wrong with it fundamentally. So they seek out Morpheus, and he kind of gives them these red pills, you know, and they think they've awakened to the actual reality, whereas in actual reality, this is also a part of a simulation, all right? So this is like a limbo where you put all the revolutionaries in so that they wouldn't disrupt, you know, the normal working of the baseline matrix, you know? So there is the baseline matrix with all the, you know, fake stakes, etc., and women in red dress. And there is like the second layer of matrix, Zion, for all the revolutionaries who think that this matrix is too fake, and they think, okay, well, like their personality is more fitting to, you know, this sort of like rebellious, actually woke, literally, you know, style of living. So they are more captivated by the idea that reality is an illusion, which is like the baseline matrix, and therefore they easily fall into this trap of the other illusion, essentially, which is like reality is fake. It's also an illusion. So this is like basically the point of the original trilogy of Matrix. All right. Yeah. Watch my videos, by the way. Also links in the description about I Know Better, where I also talk about this, false oppositions of like one versus the other, and people think that okay, if I'm nonconformist, I actually know better. In reality, this is not the case. And also, why I think I called it why deniers are still under media control, or at least that's what I've written in the thumbnail. I don't know. I'm gonna link it anyway. So, big idea of the Matrix, essentially, is that the Matrix is ourselves, fundamentally. We are enslaving ourselves, if you wish. Ultimately, And it doesn't seem like we can get out of it, like we can actually free ourselves from it. But I don't know. In this sense, like again, the original trilogy kind of leaves it an open question, because Neo kind of transcended this, and you can also get a hint of that with the ending music, where in the first two movies you had the Rage Against the Machine, also quoted many times on this channel, theme. But in the third movie was some other piece of music. So it kind of meant that, yes, like it ended essentially, right? Like something new has started. So maybe Neo actually did transcend from the Matrix. Maybe he kind of realized how fake everything was, including Zion, which is kind of the point I'm making. But I don't know. So ultimately, Matrix is the humanity. And humanity meaning not mankind, but rather like humanness, right? Again, I can't get rid of all the Blade Runner analogies, like more human than human. I don't know. So yeah, well, I kind of tried to bridge it to Blade Runner terms, but I couldn't. But anyway, so yeah, replicants or humans are both a piece of machinery. I guess that's the best I can do, right? And by the way, there is also this weird interplay between Neo and Agent Smith, where you may remember that in the first movie they actually kind of merge, right? Neo kind of jumps into Smith, and what happens later is that, well, basically Smith becomes human, right? And Neo becomes like a machine, like it's this weird like almost mythological kind of scenario. And what Smith does later is that, well, he becomes human essentially, and somebody even makes a comment that, well, it's not like a program, it's something else, right? And what Smith does is he starts copying himself, right? Which is exactly what he described as the main property of humans before that, right? When he said that humanity is like a virus, like it tends to self-replicate and kind of destroy everything. So that's kind of what he becomes in the end, which is kind of funny. And by the way, watch my video Onion of Aliens, where I actually like give a definition of life as no spoilers. Watch the video. It's in 3 parts actually. All right. Yeah. So Matrix is the humanness, right? It's our own self-enslavement, essentially. It's our own, actually, yes, I have another video on this very same topic, if I think about it, where like, it's about the genetic code, how genetic code is the actual code in which the universe is written on. I hope I made all the words correct here, but anyway, I'll link it as well. So yes, it's this same idea that I have in this video. And there is a quote from Goethe, arguably like the smartest German, that literally, none are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free. So it's the tragedy of Zion, if you wish, of Zionists, I don't know, is that they falsely believe they are free, and it's exactly what my video is about. I know better, and like the people who are against media is about. All right. So it's ultimately it's the moral of the story of the original trilogy. And by the way, there is another movie called Virtual Nightmare from 2000. And I'm gonna link some link to it in the description as well. And I highly recommend it to you because it's like a very low budget movie with respect to The Matrix, but the idea is the same, firstly, and secondly, it's like more tightly packed. Like again, if Matrix is like 3 movies, I mean the original trilogy, then Virtual Nightmare is a much shorter piece in itself, and it's in a way it's actually more fun. But the idea is like exactly the same, just what I've described to you right now. But there, at least we don't have an open twist. It's actually like shown directly. So hopefully this video will, not the video, the movie Virtual Nightmare will actually kind of give you a key to understanding what, and the movie itself is really good. I mean, I would highly recommend you it. It will give you a key to understand the original Matrix trilogy. Alright, so, what about the new Matrix? The Resurrections? Like, what's the big twist there? Like, what's the deal? Okay, let's go. So, the authors already, the directors, did say, like the sisters, Wachowski, right? Or Wachowski, I don't know, Polish manner. So, they did say that they've already said everything they wanted in the original trilogy. So there's basically no point in making a new movie. Yet the movie is there. It's being done, right? And exactly how and why this movie has been done, it is basically, this is one of the big points I'm making here, a parody on itself. So, Matrix Resurrections is a parody on the original Matrix trilogy, period. That's like the big secret that I had to share with you. It is the reiteration of the same idea, essentially, demonstrating and reinforcing the original idea, the original point, which is, the original point, as we talked about before, is that it's the secondary nature of everything, essentially, right? The falseness, if you wish, of everything, the matrixness of everything, the inherently illusory, if that's the word, character of freedom, among other things, but ultimately everything. But freedom specifically, right? Because again, the story of Neo as the main character is the story of seeking for freedom, where in doing so, in seeking freedom, Neo appears in Zion, which is also false, right? So the Matrix, the enslavement principle, if you wish, if you might call it this, which is again, I would actually say it's genetic code. Like literally, you can substitute Matrix with genetic code, and you would actually get like the idea of the movie. It's my point already, purely my point. So with the new movie, the Matrix is so much everywhere, if you wish, like it's everywhere to the point that even the transcendence of Neo in the original trilogy was basically in vain, because the very fact of the appearance of the new movie kind of showcases that the end result of Neo's transcendence is that Matrix is still there, you know? We're still slaves, right? Matrix still persisted, and we're still making a movie about it, you know? And by the way, Neo actually works on the Matrix itself, right? In the movie. So yeah. And the director actually ran, it was Lana, I think, ran with this idea, like, you gotta roll with it, you gotta take your time. Anyway, and the movie itself has many hints, actually, at this self-deprecating nature. It kind of acknowledges that it is a parody, right? Because every parody has to acknowledge it is a parody at some point, right? Because, like, it has to go over the top. Otherwise, it wouldn't be even perceived as a parody, right? Like, for example, Merovingian, if that's the pronunciation, I don't know, words about franchises. By the way, actually watch my video about franchises. Again, I'm gonna link it in the description. I don't remember how I called it. Like, well, basically the idea there is that today we have networks instead of hierarchies previously in philosophical sense, but in general, in societal sense. And this brings forth the this dynamic where we don't have like finished narratives, like finished stories, like we had previously in the culture. By the way, I've actually wanted to make a video. I mean, it's another digression, but anyway, I wanted to make another video specifically, like an add-on to this point of mine about franchises, about The Boys, the TV series The Boys, which like the third season I think just ended like pretty recently. So I've watched 2 seasons of The Boys, and I can tell you that it's so amazing. Like it's really a great sort of reflection on the, you know, the whole superhero type of obsession we have in our culture today. Like it's a really very interesting and very complex piece of art, actually. So I would highly recommend you to watch The Boys if you haven't. It's really a great piece of art. All right. And it's actually very fitting to our dialogue over here. Really my monologue, of course. Oh, you're welcome in the comment section if you wish. Anyway, so what was I talking about? Yeah, there are many points in the movie where, yeah, like the movie makes us understand that it's actually self-aware, like the quantity of the blue pills that are, that Neo is getting, etc. Like, this whole movie is like taking the blue pill again and like being enslaved again and like, taking, like, it's to the point that it's turning into a complete farce, right? A complete parody of itself. So, and there's even like a big banner near the beginning of the movie. So the banner says literally, for those who love to eat shit. So if that's not like a big indicator of like a self-awareness of this movie, then I don't know what is. So yeah, it's the movie that ultimately says, well, you wanted the same chewing gum, and there you go, baby, like, help yourself, you know, like, we're providing, there you go. Like, yeah, and it delivers so pompously, you know, like the same chewing gum exactly, being fully aware of that and being over the top with it. So yeah, it is a parody essentially. And it's genius in this sense. It's absolutely genius. I would say, at least. It's like, at some point in my life, I've been very much into Voltaire. Like, I've read his diaries, like how he talked to Friedrich the Great, of Prussia. And, there was, I think he described, or maybe it was a biography of him, like made by some editor or whatever. But like when he was young, like 22, I think he was, he wrote like a very serious tragedy, you know, very classic, I don't know, tragedy, Oedipus Rex, you know, about this, mythical, Theban, king, who ended up killing his father and marrying his mother, etc. There goes the Oedipus complex, etc. But anyway, Voltaire also wrote a play on this ancient myth. And what he did when there was like a, you know, the theater actually enacted this play. So Voltaire himself was kind of so overwhelmed. I mean, it was kind of a posish type of behavior, but he was so full of himself, so to speak, that he kind of just randomly at some occasions ran to the stage. I mean, from the whatever you call it, the seats, ran to the stage and like actively ruined the clothing of actors on the stage that were enacting his play, actually. And so he was kind of making fun of himself, right? So this is that, like, this movie is the example of such behavior. It's like, okay, it's just a carnival, you know? We're all like a little bit drunk, we're all like a little bit high, we're all like a little bit, let's just have some fun, guys, alright? Something like that. So it's kind of like the manifesto of secondariness, if you wish. But it's being done in like deliberately over the top way, you know? It's like, yeah, we know we're doing this, but why the hell not? Like, let's just have some fun, guys. Basically, that's what the movie is about. So the big plot twist of Matrix Resurrections that people somehow missed, actually, is that it is a self-aware piece of art, all right? So it's like breaking the fourth wall initially, like, again, speaking directly to the viewer and like saying, okay, like, we know what you are about, and you know what you are about, and you know that we know, like, and it's like, let's play with this, all right? And this self-awareness is the main, I believe, aesthetic value of the movie. And I think as such, it is a work of genius. All right? So it's, in a way, it's some sort of like a meta art piece, you know? It's the art piece that knows that it is an art piece, and that knows that you know that it is an art piece, and which is not afraid to talk to you. You know, it's like you're watching an opera or something. I've actually like frequently visited. Anyway, a digression, but it's like in the intermission, like you walk to the bar to drink some coffee or whatever, and like the director himself, or like even the author of the opera, comes up to you to drink coffee with you and talk to you directly about like what is happening, right? It's something like that. It's some weird, really like really next level thing, you know, next level moment, I think. It's this Deadpool, you know, what is Deadpool famous for is like for breaking the fourth wall, for talking to the viewer directly, right? And I actually have another example of that, which is punk rock. It might be kind of unexpected, but I've had this realization quite recently, actually not so recently, maybe a few years ago, but I need to spill it out somewhere, so maybe in this video, why not? So, punk rock was engineered initially, right, by this producer of Sex Pistols, Malcolm McLaren, right? So actually, read the book Please Kill Me if you want more details, where actually, like literally, McLaren himself in an interview tells exactly how he made it, all right? So, and Sex Pistols is kind of the Matrix Resurrections of in music. Like, what they did was, it was exactly like breaking the fourth wall. Like, they literally named their album The Great Rock and Roll Swindle. Like, we're making fun of you guys. Like, whoever buys this shit, alright? So, Matrix Resurrections is like, never mind the bollocks, of movie, of cinema, you know? So yeah, punk rock actually mysteriously was literally manufactured, by genius invention of McLaren, you might say, but it felt so true, you know? It was really the Matrix in music for a very long time. And actually, when I was into punk rock, when I was like 16, I've had this very same feeling myself, this, you know, this boyish vigor, this like insane passion that it had, right? Like, it took me completely, but at the same time, I've understood right away, like, it's so clear that you are fooling yourself, my friend. Like, this is all fake. And you know it's fake, but it feels so true, you know? Like, I don't know. It's kind of like falling in love, actually, which is curious because at this point I've also had like a very, very, very serious crush of love myself. Maybe it helped, actually, to get into punk rock. But yeah, it's kind of the great tragedy, you know, of having both the heart and the brain. You are into punk, but you also realize that it's all fake, like completely fake. And it's like, yeah, it's like the epitome of, you know, the tragedy of humanity. Again, humanness, not saying mankind, but humanness, right? Yeah. Well, I guess that would be most of what I wanted to talk about. It may actually serve, like the example of Matrix Resurrections, as like a curious instance of AI, you know, artificial intelligence, in the sense that the movie is kind of a sentient being, not saying human, sentient being, in the sense that it realizes what it is, and it's self-conscious, you know, in this kind of sense. So it's kind of curious, right? So yeah. And the only other example, well, except for like this punk rock thing, would be like The Great Disaster Artist. I think the movie is called The Great Disaster Artist. It's the movie about the movie again. So like we're breaking the fourth wall, and it's a comedy as well. Whereas the original, The Room, you know, the proverbial like Citizen Kane's, or Keynes? Is it? Okay, maybe I'm making a fool of myself right now. It is Citizen Kane's, right? This super famous movie. I don't know. Maybe I'm making a fool of myself, so, but I don't know. I don't care, to be honest. So the Citizen Kane's of bad movies, The Room. I've watched The Room, and it's actually, it's a lot of fun to watch. But I haven't seen The Great Disaster Artist. And by the way, I haven't seen The Matrix Resurrections. Like, I thought it would be, like, I thought I need to watch it before making this video. Like, to at least have an understanding of what I'm talking about. Like, to actually see whether the point I'm making is correct. But then I thought, well, the whole premise of this video of mine is actually that, I mean, it's all just a circus, essentially. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be hilarious if I would make a video about a movie which I didn't even watch? And so I did. Alright. Thank you for watching. The eons are closing.